Okay, hello mga students. Pag-usapan natin sa video lecture na ito yung system of quality control. Okay? Meron tayong guide dito, no, yung salitang ugat na control or quality control. So, pag pinaiksi natin pag define natin or in-explain natin ng madalian yung system of quality control, ito po ay isang sistema para ma-maintain natin yung quality ng ating audits, di ba? Because when we are auditing, syempre, we want to provide high-quality audits. So, how do we do that? There should be a control in place, no? A system of controls para mapanatili natin yung quality ng mga ginagawa natin. Especially that the public are relying on us as CPAs, as professional CPAs, conducting the audits, no? So, dapat for the company, for those practicing CPAs in the public practice, there should be appropriate controls that are in place para yung kanilang trabaho, yung mga ginagawa nila, consistent with high quality. Now, the reason why kinakailangan mag-implement, mag-maintain and implement ng quality control measures is because normally when the audit is conducted, it is conducted by teams, groups, okay? Etong hinighlight ko dito in-underline pala. It is because of the fact that audits are usually conducted by audit teams. So dahil madami yan, hindi lamang yan isang tao. So kinakailangan na nakasync tayo, di ba? It is only by implementing quality control policies and procedures that CPAs can ensure that all members of the audit teams perform the same level of quality of work. Hindi lamang si CPA number 1, hindi lamang si CPA number 2. Kung 5 kayo sa engagement, 5 kayo sa audit team, so kinakailangan lahat po ng mga CPAs, yung mga auditors, perform the same level of quality of work. Okay. Now, when we talk of quality controls, ito po ay mga polisiya at mga pamamaraan na inadapt ng mga CPAs para makapag-provide tayo ng reasonable assurance. Please take note, ginagamit natin dito reasonable assurance. Again, we cannot guarantee din, reasonable assurance of conforming with professional standards in performing audit and related services. Okay? So, quality controls, okay. Mga policies and procedures pala ito para makapag-provide tayo ng reasonable assurance that what we do conforms with professional standards. Okay? Now, under PSQC number 1 or the Philippine Standards on Quality Control. So meron po tayong guidance dyan. Okay, and that is your PSQC 1. A firm has an obligation, and when we are talking of a firm, ito po yung audit companies, auditing firms, yung kumpanya, And the company, the auditing firm, has an obligation to establish a system of quality control designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that the firm, okay, and its personnel comply with professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements. Hindi lamang po yung mga CPAs ang kinakailangan mag-comply. Even the firm, the company, they must comply with professional standards, regulatory, and legal requirements. And that the report that we issue, yung mga audit reports natin, they are appropriate in the circumstances. So, in this regard, please take note of these 3 items. Engagement teams, when we are talking of engagement teams, ito yung mga audit team that are engaged to perform a specific audit or other related engagement. They should implement quality control procedures that are applicable to the audit engagement, and what? Provide the firm with relevant information to enable the functioning of that part of the firm system quality control relating to independence. Okay? Ang pinaka-emphasis natin dito is the word na independence. Dapat, meron tayong sapat na mga information to ensure that, maintain yung independence ng audit team, ng audit engagement, ng engagement team. Okay? And that they are entitled to rely on the firm systems unless information provided by the firm or other parties suggest otherwise. Okay? So, system, di ba? Pag sistema, medyo maayos po yan. Meron tayong mga sinusunod na proseso dito. Kasi, pag sinabi nating system, di ba? Hindi lamang po isang, ano lang yan, isang unit. These are sub-units or mga interrelated, integrated na mga units that that serve a common purpose. Okay? So, kaya siya system of quality control. Now, ito po ang mga elements ng system of quality control natin. Under your PSA 220, sinasabi doon that the audit firm should implement policies and procedures designed to, pumiyok si sir ensure that all audits are conducted in accordance with the Philippine Standards on Auditing. Now, yung quality control policies and procedures na adopted ng mga auditing firms will depend, okay, doon sa laki ng firm. Ano yung nature ng kanilang practices, cost-benefit consideration, at iba pang mga factors. Okay? It is not uniform across. It will depend, no? It varies depending on the firm size, nature ng kanilang practice, cost-benefit consideration, at iba pang mga bagay. Okay? Sa PSA 20, it identifies the following control policies that may serve as a guide to audit firms in establishing their own quality control system. And I'd like you to take note of the following. Okay? Number 1 hanggang number 7. Ito, hihimayin din po natin ito. But for number 1, we are talking about leadership responsibilities for quality on audits. Ang emphasis natin dito is yung leadership, Number 2, ethical requirements. Number 3, yung nabanggit kanina, independence. Number 4, acceptance and continuance of client relationships. Number 5, human resources and assignment. Number 6, engagement performance. And number 7, monitoring. Okay? Let's talk about it one by one. Kaya nga, sa video lecture na ito, medyo mas mahaba ito compared sa iba kong mga video lectures. Now, when we talk of leadership responsibilities, okay, the firm should establish yung policies and procedures, yung ating as part of your quality control system, that is designed to promote an internal culture based on recognition that quality is essential in the performance of the engagements. Okay? Now, meron tayong tinatawag na engagement partner. Yung engagement partner, siya yung pinaka-leader ng engagement. Doon sa book ni Dassen et al., ni Hayes, Dassen, Schilder, and Wallach, di ba merong isang doon, tawag nito, pyramid, naka-identify sa public accounting, ano yung mga positions, ano yung mga designations. Nag-umpisa tayo sa staff level, papunta sa partner. And the partners are the owners of the firm. Okay? So, sa engagement, sa bawat engagement, ang pinaka-leader dyan ay yung engagement partner. Okay? And they should take responsibility for the overall quality, being the leader of the group, being the leader of the engagement. Okay? On each audit engagement to which the partner is assigned. Kada engagement, may ibang engagement partner or engagement leader yan. Now, being the head of that engagement, the partner should set an example, okay, regarding the quality of audit by what? Emphasizing through his or her actions and messages yung kahalagahan po ng trabaho na ginagawa, yung audit na ginagawa, that it should follow professional standards and it should follow the firm's or the company's quality control policies and procedures. And to provide the appropriate audit reports, Yung audit reports natin, dito nakapaloob yung audit opinion. Alright. Now, number 2, ethical requirements. We are talking about ethical requirements here. And remember, di ba, meron tayong Code of Professional Ethics, for certified public accountants. Now, in terms of the quality control system, the company or the firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that the firm and its personnel comply with ethical requirements. So dapat compliant po ang mga mga tao nito. Yung company, yung firm, the auditing company, or the auditing firm, or the accounting firm, at syempre, dahil firm yan, organization yan, yung mga personnel, yung mga tao din nito, dapat sumusunod din sa ethical requirements. Kagaya ng mga sumusunod. Integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Okay? Now, being the engagement partner as the leader, he or she should consider whether the members of the team, of the engagement team, are compliant with those ethical principles. Kung may mga issues about sa engagement team na may isa or may ilan na hindi compliant with ethical requirements, so dapat ma-resolve po ito at may proper documentation. Okay? So that is your ethical requirements. Number 3, independence. When we talk of independence, kasi di ba nabanggit before yung objectivity na dapat hindi tayo bias. Pag pinag-uusapan naman kasi natin yung independence, medyo related siya, but this is more of dapat wala kang self-interest doon sa ginagawa ninyo, sa trabaho na ginagawa ninyo sa mga clients. So, the firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that the members of the engagement team, the firm, and where applicable, the network firms maintain independence. So, halimbawa, yung engagement partner, dapat he or she is independent sa, halimbawa, meron siyang, may client, okay? May audit client, kunwari, si Globe Philippines, no? O dapat, kung ako, yung engagement partner or part of the engagement team, dapat hindi ako connected. Or hindi ako, let's say, hindi ako part ng board of directors. Otherwise, may issue tayo sa independence. Kasi, may self-interest ka dun eh. Hindi ka magiging, objective sa gagawin mo kasi may interest ka sa company na i-audit mo. Okay? So, we should maintain this independence. Now, the engagement partner should form a conclusion on compliance with independence requirements that apply to the audit engagement. And he or she should, number 1, obtain relevant information to identify circumstances and relationships that creates threat to independence. Okay, isa po yan sa mga checklist na ina-assess, at chine-check. Meron ba tayo dito sa engagement team na, let's say, when we're talking about our prospective client, is he or she part of the company, of our audit client? So, the engagement partner should identify circumstances and relationships that could create threats. Number 2, evaluate information on identified breaches of the firm's independence policies and procedures to determine whether they create a threat to independence. So, check din kung may mga identified breaches. Number 3, take appropriate safeguards, mga measures, para ma-eliminate yung threats na yan or reduce them to an acceptable low level. Kung halimbawa, engagement natin si Globe, client natin si Globe Telecoms, sabi ko kanina, Globe Philippines. So, halimbawa si Globe Telecoms, pero board of director pala yung audit partner. Para ma-eliminate yung threat to independence, di pwedeng palitan. Okay? Palitan yung engagement partner ng ibang partner na walang direct relationship doon sa prospective client, sa engagement, sa auditee. Okay? Para ma-eliminate natin yung threat na yan. And last, we have to document conclusions on independence and the basis for such conclusion. Okay? So that is independence. It is important that aside from being objective, we are independent, We will later on dwell into the details of independence when we discuss other related topics. Number 4, acceptance and continuance of client relationships. Please take note, dalawa po yan. Either acceptance or continuance. Pag acceptance, bagong kliyente. Pag continuance, existing client na magiging repeat client. Or ibig sabihin, Kliyente na natin sila before, tapos magko-continue tayo for the current year. So the company or the firm, they should establish policies and procedures para dito sa acceptance and continuance of client relationship. Okay? Designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that it will only undertake or continue relationships and engagement if, number one, na-consider ba nila yung integrity ng kliyente? Baka mamaya pala, meron itong problematic itong client na ito, prospective client, na kapag tinanggap natin ito, baka magka-problema pa tayo as the firm, as the company, as the auditing firm. So we have to do background checks, no? Meron tayong mga checklist assessments sa ating prospective client. Baka kasi mamaya yung company pala na yon ay pass through ng mga illegal activities, ng mga illegal monies, pera na nagiging mga dirty monies, no? Because it comes from illicit sources. Mga anti-money laundering, So we are very particular with it. Is competent to perform the engagement and has the capabilities, time, and resources to do so. Kapag tinanggap ba natin yung kliyente na yan, are we competent to perform the engagement? Meron ba tayong capabilities, kakayahan, oras, at mga resources? Usually, mga tao, na kayang gawin ito. And are we compliant or can we comply with ethical requirements? Okay, so those are being considered. Now, as for the engagement partner, he or she should be satisfied that there are sufficient procedures, appropriate procedures regarding the acceptance and continuance of client relationships. Okay? That a specific audit engagement have been followed and that conclusions reached in this regard are appropriate and have been documented also. Okay? Next, number 5, human resources and assignment. Now, the company should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance na merong sufficient personnel with the capabilities, competence, and commitment to ethical principles necessary to perform the engagement. So, that is why when doing the recruitment process of accepting mga new hires, mga bagong CPAs, pag lalong-lalo na sa mga auditing firms, so they should address issues regarding personal recruitment. Okay? Tapos pag nandiyan na yung tao na yan, how do we evaluate performance? How do we provide proper compensation? And ano yung policy natin sa promotion? Okay? Capabilities and competence and career development. Para hindi umalis yung mga tao na yan, do we have policies for career development? Because we are managing the resources, manpower, the human resources, yung mga tao. And then assignment of engagement teams. Now, as for the engagement partner, dapat satisfied siya na yung engagement team collectively, as a group, as a team, may appropriate capabilities, competence, and oras para ma-perform yung audit engagement in accordance with professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements, and to enable an auditor's report that is appropriate in the circumstances to be issued. Okay? Next. Buhay pa ba? Gising pa kayo? Engagement performance naman tayo. So, meron pa po tayong dalawa, Ito na yung isa sa dalawa. The firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that, please take note dito sa aking in-underline, engagements are performed in accordance with the professional standards and regulatory and legal requirements, and for the auditor's report that is issued to be appropriate in the circumstances. So una, when talking about engagement, dapat it is in accordance with professional standards and other regulatory and legal requirements. At pagdating sa report, dapat appropriate yan for the circumstance. The engagement partner should take responsibility. Kasi siya nga yung pinaka-head, di ba? For the direction, supervision, review, and overall performance of the audit engagement. Now, when we talk about direction, syempre, dapat dinidirect niya yung team. So, yung mga tao sa baba, below him or below her, they should be informed kung ano yung kanilang mga responsibilidad, ano yung kanilang mga trabaho, the nature of the entity's business, potential problems that may arise, and the detailed approach to the performance of the engagement. Paano ba natin ito gagawin? Supervision. So, when we are talking of supervision, nasusupervise ba yung mga tao? May monitoring ba sa progress ng audit? And resolving accounting and audit issues and considering the level of consultation appropriate for the engagement. So, syempre, yung mga staff, mga staff, personnel, yung pinaka nasa baba, nasusupervise dapat yan. Lalong-lalo na pag mga bago, hindi pa nila alam yung gagawin at hindi pa sila familiar sa mga audit procedures or ano yung standard operating procedures ng company. Okay, so dapat nasusupervise sila sa kanilang mga ginagawa. At when necessary, mayroong proper consultation. Okay? Dito naman, pangatlo, review. Aside from supervising, dapat nare-review yung ginagawa ng mga tao, ng mga staff, no? Yung audit procedures ba, yung evidence, yung documentation, appropriate or sapat ba yan para ma-support yung conclusions reached? And last, consultation na nabanggit ko kanina, dapat merong policies and procedures about consultation. Okay? So that when personnel needs assistance, okay, meron available for consultation either within or outside the firm. Okay? The engagement partner should, number one, be responsible for the team undertaking appropriate consultation on difficult and contentious matters. Lalong-lalo na sa mga bagong implemented na mga standards na medyo medyo mahirap intindihin. Let's say, paano ba yung treatment ng leases, sa pension, sa income taxes. Okay? So there should be appropriate consultations. The engagement partner should be satisfied that members of the engagement team have undertaken appropriate consultation during the course of the engagement, both within the engagement team and others at the appropriate level within or outside the firm. So, during the course of the engagement, dapat merong appropriate consultation. Number 3, be satisfied that the nature and scope of and conclusions resulting from such consultations are properly documented at agreed with the party consulted. Kung sino man po yung ibang partido na kinonsult natin. And lastly, that the engagement partner should determine na yung conclusions arising from those consultations ay na-implement. Okay? So yan po yung responsibility ng engagement partner. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na engagement quality control review. At etong QCR or EQCR, ito po ay nagpo-provide ng objective evaluation of the significant judgments made and conclusions reached in formulating the auditor's report. Okay? So, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga engagement review, mga quality review. Okay? Maaring magkakaiba yung terminology na ginagamit nito, depende kung saan kang auditing firm. Pero meron po dapat, yung firm ng ganitong mga policies and procedures related sa engagement quality control review. Para nare-review yung mga engagement na pinerform in the past. Okay? Meron ba yung quality control? Is it, are we following the high levels of standards? Okay? What else? Anong requirement naman ito, for the engagement partner? Number 1, to determine that an engagement quality control reviewer has been appointed, yung tao, Number 2, to discuss significant matters arising during the audit engagement, including those identified during the quality control review or the QCR with the engagement quality control reviewer. And last, not to issue the auditor's report until the completion of the engagement quality control review. Okay? Now, the firm should establish policies and procedures setting out the scope of the QCR, criteria for the eligibility of the QCR, yung reviewer, no? And documentation of the QCR. Papaano ba ito ginagawa? Okay. How about differences of opinion? Dapat, of course, no, yung team, they should follow the policies and procedures of the firm when dealing with difficult, no, at saka mga in resolving differences of opinion. Okay? Na nag-a-arise within the engagement team. Sabi ni manager, ganito yan. Sabi ni director, no. So there is a difference between differences of opinion. Okay? With those consulted as well, and where applicable between the engagement partner and the engagement quality control reviewer. So how do we deal with differences of opinion? So dapat meron po tayong policies and procedures dyan. So it all boils down doon sa policies and procedures. Do we have those sorts of policies and procedures so that we can maintain a system of quality control to provide high level of quality in the performance of the audit? Now, the engagement partner should inform the members of the engagement team to bring matters involving differences of opinion to the attention of who? The engagement partner or others within the firm as appropriate without fears of reprisals. So dapat hindi siya nagiging hassle. So kung kinakailangan i-communicate, dapat ma-communicate ito nang hindi natatakot, no? The audit report should not be issued until the matter involving differences of opinion is resolved. So usually normal ito sa lalong-lalo na pag mga malalaking companies yung ino-audit. So minsan nagkakaroon ng differences of opinion talaga, pero dapat hindi muna maire-release yung audit report hangga't hindi na-resolve yung issue. Okay? Last, doon sa criteria natin, yung elements of quality control system, monitoring. The continued adequacy and operational effectiveness of quality control policies and procedures is to be monitored. So dapat na mo-monitor yung effectiveness nitong mga quality control policies and procedures. Kasi baka mamaya hindi na siya effective, dapat kailangan i-revisit, no? Para ma-check kung kinakailangan ng revision or updates. Policies and procedures must be adopted to provide reasonable assurance that the systems of quality control are relevant, adequate, and operating effectively. No? Kasi pag hindi na yan effective, we have to look. Okay? Bakit? And do the necessary corrections. Okay? The firm's quality control policies and procedures should be communicated to its personnel in a manner that provides reasonable assurance that the policies and procedures are understood and implemented. Okay. Now, etong quality control review sa slide na ito, it pertains naman sa profession. Okay, through the Board of Accountancy, the PR-BOA, no? Kasi recognizing that the work of the professional accountants are important, no? And that they provide help to the society through the services that they provide, the government has also taken steps to ensure that CPAs work to the highest standards which can reasonably be expected from them. Okay? Now, through the government sa pamamagitan ng BOA has required that all CPA firms and individual CPAs in the public practice, yung mga practicing CPAs, kinakailangan meron silang certificate of accreditation to practice public accountancy. Ito po yung sinasabi natin na kahit ikaw ay isang CPA, hindi ka basta-basta makakapag-practice ng auditing. Hindi ka basta-basta makakapirma. Kasi 'di ba marami sa atin before we enrolled sa program ng accountancy, ang sabi, kaya tayo mag-accountancy ka na kasi pirma ka lang diyan, may pera ka na. So hindi po 'yun basta-basta. Meron tayong accreditation na kinakailangan bago tayo makapirma. Kasi when we are talking of the signing, that is your usually yung mga engagement partner, they sign the audit report on behalf of the team kasi siya yung engagement leader. So may accreditation po yan. Okay? Yung certificate, it will be valid for 3 years at renewable siya after complying the requirements of the Board of Accountancy. For example, meron tayong sa CPD. Okay? Continuing Professional Development. CPD units, for trainings, mga seminars, that is 120 units. Okay? Now, as a condition to the renewal of certificates of accreditation to practice public accountancy, the board requires individual CPAs and CPA firms to undergo a quality control review para ma-ensure na yung mga CPAs comply with accounting and auditing standards and practices. Okay? Now, the BOA has created a quality review committee, okay, which shall conduct a quality review on applicants for registration to practice public accountancy and shall recommend the revocation of certificate of registration of CPAs. O ganito yan. Sa BOA, merong QRC na nag-check ng mga applications for registration. Kung halimbawa, ikaw ay CPA na sa ngayon, meron ka ng necessary work experience, gusto mo na maging independent CPA, i-practice yung public accounting para makapirma-pirma ka na, okay? Merong review process yan. It will be conducted by the QRC, Quality Review Committee, okay? Para i-check. And also, to recommend revocation of licenses, of registrations, kung sakaling may mga CPAs or CPA firms na hindi observing doon sa quality control measures or hindi nakapag-comply sa standard of quality na prescribed for the practice of public accountancy. Kasi remember, when we talk of accountancy as your program in the undergraduate, yung BSA, pagka-take mo ng board exam, pagka pumasa ka, pwede kang magtrabaho sa public accounting. That is your public practice. Pwede kang magtrabaho sa private, no? Ito yung mga companies as an accountant, as a management accountant, as a cost accountant, tax accountant, no? At kung ano pa mang mga posisyon. Pwede kang maging kagaya ko na nagtuturo, no? Working in the academe as an accounting professor or work for the government as state auditors or related positions. Okay? So here we are talking about the public practice. Okay? Practice of public accountancy. So hanggang dito muna yung ating video lecture. Now, class, let me know if you have questions. Kasi alam ko na medyo mahaba ito at baka meron kayong hindi naintindihan. So if you have questions, comment down below or let me know para ma-assist ko kayo. Okay? So kung wala naman, hanggang dito muna tayo. Maraming salamat. I'll see you around soon. Bye-bye.